Imagine Georgia puts together 2 complete halves.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team each and every day. He, of course, is Clint. I am only Daniel, and together we're the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
Yeah.
And together we're going to be in Athens on Saturday afternoon. Already had a couple of you reach out, got a couple of invites to some tailgates, Clint, and so it's going to be a busy afternoon. I'm just telling you, put your walking shoes on because we're going to be consuming a lot of food and beverage prior to and subsequent to the Georgia football game on Saturday.
M-dubs. I swear to all that is good and holy, if you don't have water on you,
pack a water bottle. Pack a water bottle, my friend. It's going to be a good time. We'll be down in Athens. And we here at the Locked On Bulldogs podcast, we put together not one, not two, but 3 full segments each and every episode. But the Georgia offense, kind of just a one segment, the Georgia football team, I should say, kind of just a one segment football team at this point.
Daniel, they say in life, if you do one thing well, just do that one thing really well, and then you're golden, and then you're fine. I beg you, Georgia, don't listen to that advice because that's horrible advice when it comes to a football game for 60 minutes. We're starting here, Daniel. This is by the numbers today. We're going to break down a little Ole Miss Georgia preview, a little preview before the full preview. We're going to give you locks at the end of the week. It's going to be great. It's going to be glorious.
Today's episode is not all numbers paint a positive picture. If I could just overgeneralize here at the
But if I can come and be the opposite, if I can be the rainbow to Daniel's bucket, there is reason to believe things are, in fact, my eyes are telling me things are getting better. Okay. Eyes are telling me. Here's where I want to start. I want to start here today. If you're on YouTube, you get to see this. If you're on the audio, go over to YouTube. And if you're on YouTube, go subscribe to audio. Helps your boys out a lot.
Please.
Each half. This is the second half Ole Miss UGA. Okay. This is what we're talking about. It's 2 halves in a football game. First half, Georgia, notoriously bad. Second half,
stank.
Notorious, very good for Georgia.
Yeah, quite good and fair.
Actually, if I could go out on a limb and say, if only football games were second halves counted, Georgia would be the number 1 team in the nation.
Correct.
Okay. Great.
By a mile.
By a mile. Like not particularly close.
No.
Okay, so here's what it is. In the second half of games, Georgia gets plus 2.1 yards per play difference from their opponent. Ole Miss, 0.2 yards per play. So Ole Miss gets better in the second half as well. Except here's where things go completely bonkers and sideways. Expected points against, EPA, is a stat that say on the plays that you play against or play for on offense, play against on defense, how much of those are actually going to go ahead and add to your expected point totals. Okay? Georgia, their expected points against plummets by 16.6% in the second half. 16.6%, which is head and shoulders above everyone else in the nation. In the second half, Ole Miss, conversely, negative 4% expected points per play, meaning Ole Miss is getting better in the second half, but the margin is wafer thin. Conversely, Georgia, it is an entirely different game. There's a negative expected points against Georgia in the second half. Their defense turns it on, Daniel. This is wild.
Yeah, and if I could oversimplify that, especially if you're listening on audio, you're not seeing these numbers. What those numbers, the story they basically tell is Ole Miss and Georgia, their offense gets a little better as we go into the second half. The Georgia offense gets a little better in the second half than it was in the first half. The Ole Miss offense gets a little better in the second half than it was in the first half. The Ole Miss defense gets a little better in the second half compared to what it was in the first half, about 4 points better expected, a little better. The Georgia defense, on the other hand, is an entire football game's worth of points better in the second half than it is in the first half. Now, I don't want to be the one to tell you that there are two ways to read every statistic.
Okay, this
but
is gonna be good.
We're comparing the first half to the second half, are we not?
We are.
So the fact that it's 16 points better could tell you that the defense is 16 points really good in the first half or in the second half, or it could tell you that the defense is absolutely beyond atrocious in the first half. The fact that there's even 16 less points
to be had
in the second half should tell you everything you need to know about the way the defense is playing in the first half. Obviously, we've seen these struggles. These are just numbers to exemplify them. Struggles in the first half, I should say. And I mean, I don't think I'm stretching to say dominant performances from the defense in the second half. Clint, shutout against Alabama, shutout against Auburn, shutout when the starters were on the field against Kentucky in the second half. And you look at the difference in the Tennessee game, first
17 points in the second half with Tennessee. And by the way, I'm not making it. Tennessee is the best offense in the nation.
Tennessee is among the best offenses in the SEC. I will agree with Clint on that point. We'll leave it there for now. But Tennessee is among the best offenses in the SEC. Georgia's defense makes marked improvements in the second half. You're never out of a game with this group. And Kirby has said it. It's not fun for the fan. Like, it's not enjoyable of an experience. We're all worse off for having to watch it every week. We're not going to live long and healthy lives.
Let me apply this practically to the Ole Miss game. Okay. Ole Miss pretty good offense. Not great, by the way. Ole Miss defense, bookie. Straight trash. Okay. So their improvement on defense, straight trash. Okay.
Again, we're comparing their first half to their second half too. So there's something to note there.
Apply it to Ole Miss game. If Ole Miss comes out, and I've been told their offense is going to score in the first half. We'll get to that maybe in the third segment. Let's say they go up 21 points, just like Tennessee did. What we've seen of this Georgia team, and it's not me being a sunshine Disney dog or just a homer. I am a homer. Georgia's not out of that game if Ole Miss gets 21 points in the first half, Daniel. Not at all. Because it could be that's all the points you get all game.
It literally has been almost every game for this Georgia team. Like, they figure you out and then they shut you down. Like, and we've seen it against really good offenses. Alabama, Tennessee, like really good offenses. Georgia absolutely comes out in the second half. They do make those adjustments regardless of what Kirby Smart wants to say. And they do figure it out. Now, at some point, you keep playing with fire, Clint, and bad things are going to happen to you. But on a positive note, this Georgia team has shown, even in the Alabama game, when they didn't end up with a victory, they have shown that they're not out of any game, and you should absolutely not be ruling them out in any way, shape, or form, regardless of what happens in the first quarter on Saturday. We're going to come back. We're going to look at some more numbers as it relates to the Georgia defense, particularly in relation to the quarterback on the other team. But first, these.
These are, in fact, Mazda. Mazda's fantastic. Move and be moved. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride. Has more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. All-wheel drive standard across every crossover SUV. You can drive with confidence through almost any season. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, impossible becomes relevant. Mazda, move and be moved, but that's not all, Daniel. We also have our friends over at Peloton. Peloton's fantastic. You should like them. We like them. Shaping the future of fitness. It's got Peloton cross-training tread with Peloton IQ. Most advanced equipment design you'll ever get, whether you're running, lifting, or cross-training with your favorite instructors. I love how the IQ system offers real-time strength coaching. It actually tracks your reps, suggests the right weights, and corrects your form, making every rep safer and smarter. So let yourself run, lift, flex, and push forward. Explore the new Peloton cross-training tread today at onepeloton.com.
Peloton basically does everything except adjust your sights, is what you're telling me, Clint. Is that?
I was gonna ask Daniel.
Is that accurate?
If you know, do you even lift, bro? Like,
do you even lift? Do you even lift,
bro? Okay. Hey, Daniel, I gave you expected points against in the second half for the defenses, both Ole Miss and Georgia. Yeah. What number do you have for us? You hinted before, quarterback for Ole Miss, defense. What do you got for us?
I want to talk about the QBR. Not for Gunnar Stockton, which, by the way, Gunnar Stockton is still currently sitting at third nationally in QBR. He's very good at playing quarterback. So you can say what you want about explosive plays. You can say what you want about downfield throws. You can say what you want about whatever you want. Gunnar Stockton is very good. And that's not just what my eyes tell me. That's what the actual ratings tell me. Number 3 in the nation in QBR. I do not want to talk about Georgia's QBR, though. I want to talk about the way that opposing quarterbacks look when they play the University of Georgia. Clint, the number I've got for you is 63. Georgia is 63rd nationally in average QBR against. Meaning the QBR of the quarterback playing the University of Georgia. Georgia ranks 63rd nationally. Now, that's not as bad as our rushing offense was last year, outside the top 100 nationally. But it's quite bad. What I'm in layman's terms, what that means is Georgia makes opposing quarterbacks look better than they really are. Maybe let's try to back that up with some facts. Georgia's played 4 SEC quarterbacks so far. All 4 of them have had a QBR above their SEC average in conference games when they have played Georgia. So across the board, they played other teams like Mississippi State, like Arkansas. No, but their QBR when they played Georgia was above their average in 3 of those 4 games, Clint. The quarterback playing Georgia has had their best QBR of their entire season in SEC play thus far. What I'm trying to say is that Georgia makes opposing quarterbacks look good. People said all week, Jackson Arnold can't do anything. Well, look in the first half, Jackson Arnold moved the ball down the field. Before Auburn broke mentally because their head coach is a frail, sad little man. Before Auburn broke mentally.
Trigger warning, Auburn fan.
He did not warn you. He put that right up on the screen before he did. Before Auburn broke mentally, Jackson Arnold, the hapless quarterback, was pushing the ball downfield, hitting open receivers. He wasn't just using his legs, although he was doing that as well. Every quarterback Georgia plays, Georgia makes them look better than they are. And that's not, Ty Simpson, his best QBR of the season, and I'm including games against Louisiana Monroe, was against Georgia. The Tennessee quarterback, same thing. Best QBR of the season was against Georgia. We came out of that game saying that guy might be the best quarterback in the SEC. Well, let's all slow down a little bit. It turns out that he just looked really good against Georgia. Now, that all brings me to Saturday, Clint.
Okay.
And the number 8. Because Trinidad Chambliss, while Gunnar Stockton sits at 3rd in QBR in the country, Trinidad Chambliss sits at 8th nationally in QBR. Just as a point of reference, Ty Simpson is 16th in QBR. Joey Aguilar is 33rd in QBR. These are the quarterbacks that Georgia has made look like NFL MVP candidates. so far. Trinidad Chambliss, meanwhile, sits at 8th nationally currently in QBR. Every Georgia quarterback that we've played has had their SEC best QBR against Georgia. Can we buck that trend on Saturday? I know that he's more of a runner than a passer. I know that he struggles to make downfield throws. Again, you could say all these things to me till you're blue in the face. I'm not going to listen to you because the honest truth is, so far this season, the numbers would tell you when you play Georgia, those things go out the window because you're going to be able to move the ball efficiently through the air. You're going to be able to exploit this secondary in places. You're going to be able to work the passing game, and you're going to be able to have a really successful game at quarterback. We've seen it on all 4 SEC games, including a Kentucky quarterback who barely had any experience, who came in and looked pretty decent at times against this Georgia football team. So that's, to me, is the big question, is can Georgia manage to hold Trinidad Chambliss to anything other than his season high in QBR? Because, again, if he has his season high in QBR, like we're looking at a situation where he's going to be, his season high right now is 93 out of 100. So if Georgia can't hold him under that, Ty Simpson, by the way, against Georgia, 89.9 was his QBR against the University of Georgia. So can they find a way? And it comes, I think, through pressure primarily. Can Georgia find a way to stifle an opposing quarterback? And if and when they do, I'm not exaggerating when I say it will be the first time this season that they have done so. That's the challenge on Saturday.
It is the challenge. He is rather good. If you look back against his, if we were to just say like his worst performance, it was last week, and we could talk a lot about how do you make out, by the way, Lane Kiffin literally saying, "I don't care about watching film on Wazoo at all." What does that do for you, Daniel?
Check back with me in the third segment about the only difference between Lane Kiffin and Kirby Smart, or the biggest difference between
the biggest difference. Okay.
It has nothing to do with their weight. I'll tell you that.
Oh my gosh, what a little troll! That guy just can't help himself. Daniel, if you were to look at who
he can't help himself make the college football playoff, that's for sure. He cannot help himself do that.
He can't.
No.
If you're to look at the total defense of teams that Ole Miss has played, to your point of making Trinidad Chambliss look very, very good.
Yeah.
They're all the teams they played, Daniel. I mean, I'm talking way down.
I'm sorry. LSU has a very good defense, Clint.
Okay, you're correct.
LSU has a very good defense, and Trinidad Chambliss had a QBR of 89 in that game.
I hear you. Washington State, conversely, 56th defense, below Wyoming,
defense.
Buffalo, Maryland, Army, and the likes of Temple and UTEP. He had his worst game against that team, Daniel.
That's right.
Tulane, not fantastic on defense.
So maybe what you're saying is, since Georgia has such a bad defense, maybe he'll have his worst game against us.
I'm just saying, maybe there's a chance. We're going to come back after this. We're going to talk to you about the biggest difference in Lane and Kirby. But first, these. And these are, in fact, Wayfair. Wayfair is fantastic. Holidays getting close. Before you know it, guess what? You're getting ready for guests and celebrations. Maybe you want to have actual service wear that doesn't look dingy and cheap and disgusting. That's when you come into Wayfair. It's your one-stop shop for every room in the house. Wayfair makes it easy to personalize your home on holidays. Huge selection of every style budget. And with free and easy delivery, even on the big stuff, you can get everything you need without the hassle of huge delivery fees. Now, I love how easy it is to find the pieces that fit the design and budget. Everything was in one place, and checkout was a breeze. Get organized, refreshed, and ready for the holidays with less. Head to Wayfair.com right now. Shop all things home. That's Wayfair.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. But also, Daniel, we have Supply House. Supply House is great. It's like for the pros, but guess what? It doesn't have to be only for the pros. It could be for you and I, Jimmy's and Joe's, but not the best ones because we're not the best ones. Electrical, HVAC, plumbing, trusted brands business, over 280,000 actual brands.
Maybe trying to pop on that YouTube. You're trying to fix that leak under your sink. You
Guess
say,
what?
I don't need to bring in a guy who's going to charge me a boatload of money.
Come on, guys.
I'm going to pop on the YouTube. I'm going to do this myself. I'm going to pop over to Supply House. I'm going to save a bunch of money on all the stuff I'm going to need.
The Part Finder tool has 3D schematics, can save you hours on jobs where every detail matters. Join the free Trademaster program today and score serious perks like priority shipping, lower prices, and a dedicated support line. Visit supplyhouse.com and sign up for free. Use promo code SHCollege5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Real people, real service. All right. So besides talking about waistlines and calorie burning and Lane being an absolute frat bro that never grew up, and it's just as true as time itself, Daniel.
It's hard to look at. I'll be honest. As a grown man, as just a grown adult man, it's hard to look at. You see things sometimes, and it's just sad. Like I'm.
Guys, just really quick. I don't want to belabor the point because
Yeah.
I love stats. I love stats. I'm big, but we're not suggesting to you that LSU and Washington State have the same defense. That's not what we're trying to suggest to you.
I wouldn't.
Okay. The score output was the exact same. What I'm trying to tell you by this, the stats are good and great. They tell a story, but you still got to go play football.
Yeah. And
Football
clearly Ole Miss was not ready to play football on Saturday.
No.
And Lane was more than happy to tell you why
Very excited.
after the game. Because he's not a real coach.
No.
He doesn't handle his business. Unfortunately, that doesn't help Georgia because Georgia's not Washington State. Georgia's the team Ole Miss is looking ahead to. Georgia's the team that Ole Miss is wasting practice time last week on instead of focusing on Washington State, which they should have been doing because they almost went out and got beat. What I noticed in the post-game presser from Lane is he spent an awful lot of time, Clint, talking about how Ole Miss was the number 4 ranked team in the country, but they sure didn't play like the number 4 team ranked in the country. And we're going to have to play a lot better if we want to be the number 4 team ranked in the country in the AP poll. Could you imagine Kirby Smart caring at all about his team in early October being ranked number 4 in the AP poll? I've said so many words to denote that this means absolutely nothing. It's the AP poll.
Yep.
It's early October.
Yep.
Like, could you imagine Kirby Smart giving 1 ounce of brain power to that? There's a reason why Lincoln Riley has a better chance of having long-term success coaching college football than Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin is a better coach than Lincoln Riley. He's a better
100%.
offensive mind
100%
than Lincoln Riley. But Lane Kiffin just doesn't get it. He's still playing the game. He's still a fan at heart. He's not a real coach. Unfortunately for Georgia, as I said, that doesn't help Georgia because Lane Kiffin is putting all of his eggs into this basket. The only way in which that helps Georgia is that Lane has completely blown this game out of proportion for his team, and they're going to choke under the immense pressure that he is putting on them to prove himself in beating Kirby Smart, coming back to a place where he got beat by 50 points the last time he was there. So that's the only way that this could go well for Georgia. But it's just staggering to me. You can say what you want about Kirby Smart. We can complain about this, about Kirby, and that about Kirby. But at the end of the day, sometimes you just look around college football, you look at some of these other clowns that are being paid millions of dollars to coach teams, and you think, man, I'm really glad that Kirby Smart is the coach of Georgia. Yeah.
Daniel, I just have a question. This is now anecdotal. I'm trying to give context to statistics. It's really important. Honest question. I'm curious your answer. Who's you said he's the best offensive mind, or did you say better offensive mind?
I said he's better than Lincoln Riley.
Great. Then my question still stands. Better offensive mind, Steve Sarkisian, Lane Kiffin.
I'd probably say Lane Kiffin, but I'd say it's probably close. I'd probably say Steve Sarkisian's a better coach, but Lane Kiffin is a better offensive mind.
Nothing you said upsets me at all. I would agree with everything you're talking about. Daniel, I'm going to list for you the Texas Longhorns 2024 points per game against very good teams. Michigan, Colorado State, they had 52, hung 52 on them.
Sure.
This is 2024. Michigan hung 31 on them. UTSA hung 56. UNT Monroe, 51. Mississippi State, 35. Oklahoma, at the time, very ranked, good defense, 34 points. Hung over 31 was the lowest to Michigan, and that was at Michigan. Okay. Now, if you were to go look at even QBR for 2024, Quinn Ewers had a pretty dang good QBR and one of the better offenses in the entire nation.
Is he still the Texas quarterback, by the way? I can't remember. Who is?
He's not, Daniel. He's not.
Oh, no. They went to that better guy. They went to the guy that was better.
They went to the guy that was better.
Mm-hmm.
Quinn Ewers is a running quarterback as well as passing. 65.8 yards or 65.8% completion last year. Quinn Ewers, very good running the ball. Ran all over defenses up until Georgia came along. Now, last year's defense, we can debate this if we want. I like this year's defense better than last year's defense. It's a cardiac arrest in the first half. I get you. That has more to do with coaching and inexperience than anything else. But I think the end of the year product for Georgia on defense is going to be better than the product last year on defense. And I'll stand by that. Kirby Smart has something that gets going against offensive minds. And you say, well, Tennessee. Yeah, Tennessee came out 21 points. It was at Tennessee. It was early in the season. It was a first test. We got shell-shocked by a lot in that game. 100% right. Like that was...
They scored 41 points against us. 38 in regulation. Like, that's a lot of points.
By the way, Josh Heupel slowly making his name as a top 10 coach, top 5 coach in the nation. Like, his record against good teams is very good. What I'm trying to say, Kirby has a tendency to go ahead, nitpick, figure out the top minds. And last year, Ole Miss, that game got sideways in a hurry with the rain, sideways in a hurry with Jackson Dart, who, by the way, pretty dang good quarterback right now in the league and last year. Pretty dang. At home. Come back to the Don't Sleep On segment at the end of the week, Daniel. Come back to the Don't Sleep On.
I'll be back for it. I think I'll tune in. I will
tune in. He is Daniel. I am Clint. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
See ya.